He did not have a history of being a hateful person. He did not have a history of being universally disliked. He had accomplishments. He was artistic. He was a loving son. He was a loving brother. And he was good friends to many. And that's, if there was some reason to consider something different, if the incident that occurred was not, was something that my words could make a difference, I would be spending a lot more time talking about who he was, how he got here, and what perhaps would be a better solution than life without parole, but that's not a possibility. And so I'm here speaking a few words to suggest to the court and have it be said during these proceedings that something broke that day. I don't know, this is not an excuse. This is trying to wrap our hands around why these things happen. Ms. Stansel and I have represented people where you walk out and you think to yourself, hard and cold and no conscience and no loving connections and a history. And we'd walk out and would not have said to each other what we did this time, which is, this is unbelievably tragic in so many ways. And so I'm here telling the court this, even though, as I have repeated, it is not to have any great effect, to suggest to the court to let it be known, and even to some of the people who are in this room and who are listening to this, that the ability to speak on behalf of Mr. Erickson, despite what has been profound and compelling testimony, is to say that the person that we have known for the last 2 years is not devoid of value, is not devoid of the abilities and the attributes that we would find commendable, is not somebody who is here sitting in this courtroom that no matter how hard you tried looking over his history, had nothing redeemable. Am I saying that to try to convince anybody who has been profoundly affected by this that they're wrong, or that what they're asking for is not appropriate, or to counter much of what Mr. Brockler said? No. Why I'm here speaking under these circumstances is to perhaps let people know that that is a portion of who Devon Erickson is. And for those who have had crossed his path and felt at all conflicted about how could now somebody have done something that they perceive as so evil, when their interactions with him were not totally suggestive that, including which was a very emotional moment for the teacher who came up and talked about the bulletin board comment that she had kept there for so long. And so that is why I'm here. It's why Ms. Stansel and I have visited with Devon, have tried to not only be his representative during these 2 years, but also have tried to make arrangements and been there to see him, to try to impact or try to have some effect on what is going to be his future existence, a life that will be spent inside a penitentiary. It is not now to seek forgiveness for those people who were affected, but it is to tell all that that is also a part of who Devon Erickson is. and was, despite the tragedy and the actions that happened on that fateful day. There are going to be a few people speaking from his family now. Another thing that was said before the court is family doesn't stop loving. And so the folks that are here, it has not been lost on them as they sat through this sentencing, not stone-hearted or cold or not understanding that their son was involved in activities that had such profound impact on people on that day and now for well into the future. But they are here to put some words before the court because family doesn't stop loving. In terms of what I would like the court to do, I would, it's for the actual sentence, I would just take a couple of minutes after they speak to wrap up. Ms. Larson.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity, Judge. My name is Cynthia Larson, Cynthia Larsen. I'm writing this letter as an appeal for consideration for Devon Erickson. It's my hope with this letter anyone involved with the disposition of Devon will have my family's knowledge and perspective of our experiences with Devon, his family, and Douglas County schools. Sorry. It is also my hope that our personal experiences are assistive in Devon's defense and will allow some leeway for possible sentencing. Our son Charlie met Devon while attending 7th grade STEM school, Highlands Ranch, fall of 2012. We were overjoyed. Charlie qualified and was accepted into the STEM program at this charter school. Prior to this, our family experiences with 3 different Douglas County school teachers, administrators, and SSO officers created great difficulty for our family. Consistently, they recriminated or just ignored our family's reporting of bullying and criminal activity within their schools. Both Bruce, my husband, and I frequently had to leave our jobs to deal with unsafe environments, advocating for our children at schools. I elected to leave my position at JP Morgan and the workforce to manage our children's welfare and academics. I gave emails to investigators. One of the investigators also interviewed my son Charlie for first-person experiences with Devon. It was very clear to both Bruce and I that there was an agenda within the public school system, administrators and teachers to sweep problems under the rug and victimize anyone illuminating issues within their jurisdiction in an unfavorable way. As stated, we were overjoyed our son was qualified and accepted to STEM High School, Highlands Ranch, 7th grade. Charlie befriended Devon, who became a regular at our home throughout 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, and half of 11th grade. Devon attended dinners, sleepovers, many local entertainment venues like Jump Street, laser tag, bowling, various arcades, backwood hiking, walking our dog Lucy the Beagle. Devon accompanied Charlie and was regarded a great kid. Devon was polite, kind, courteous, and respectful. We happily included Devon in enriching experiences with our family. Devon, Charlie, and other kids would regularly walk to Town Center Park, movies at AMC, Starbucks after school. At no time were we ever notified or concerned with behavior that would be considered troublesome. Throughout this time, there was never an issue at school or with any venues they attended. Stephanie and I would regularly pick the kids up from activities and drive them home. At no time was there ever a question about their demeanor, activities, or reports of problems with any of the kids that they were with. At no time did any kid attending these activities report any negative experiences either. Devon, Charlie, and other kids in their sphere went to school and enjoyed enriching activities as they progressed through developmental milestones, like driving, going to school dances, and participating in independent after-school activities. I was aware Devon was involved after school in Littleton Playhouse. He happily reported on trying out for parts or being involved with the theater. Overall, he seemed like a nice kid. Having dealt with some maladjusted kids prior to the 7th grade, Devon was a relief to our family. As the years progressed, both Bruce and I were delighted. We thought the dysfunctional school scenarios we had experienced were behind us. Charlie and his friends attended school and enjoyed positive social experiences. Unfortunately, this dynamic began to change as the STEM school took advantage of growth opportunities and expanded toward the end of 9th grade. With this expansion, it became obvious that students with learning disabilities, behavioral and mental health problems increasingly were introduced to a once merit-based educational system. I volunteered for in-school and after-school activities and have firsthand experience with some of the new students and their deficits. Charlie and Devon started reporting to us about challenges in the classroom with kids that were disruptive or of being harassed in the hallways. It was also concerning to us that teachers would come and go, leaving classrooms in the middle of a semester or to other job opportunities or for personal reasons. Substitute teachers were ineffective in classroom management. I carpooled with a family that had one kid arrested at STEM school and transported to behavioral health because he reported being anxious to the school counselor. Also notable was the alarming attire and hair color choices students walking through the halls or outside at dismissal. The drive line to pick up kids after school looked like a cosplay event most days. As it became obvious that STEM was no longer a magnet school for math and science, rather a warehouse for problematic students, our son Charlie elected to leave this school and attend Highlands Ranch High School. His belief that he might as well go to the school half a mile from our house versus driving 6 miles away with all the crazies, quote unquote, indicated the depths of change at STEM. We were deeply and emotionally affected by the STEM shooting, and in less than 1 year, Devon was unrecognizable to us. I wish daily that Devon left school when Charlie did. I am not sure it would have prevented such a catastrophic event, just Devon's involvement. Obviously, Devon's association with Alex had a horrible impact on him. Our family had known Devon for 5 years prior to the STEM shooting, and at no time did he ever exhibit malevolent or antisocial behavior. What happened over the course of 1 year to bring about such a drastic change? I believe it more plausible that Devon was manipulated under the influence of drugs and malicious persons and was sucked into this scheme. By the way, did the nurse take any vital signs? Was it prudent to let him return to the classroom? If this happened to Devon, how many more children in our community could do similar? I hope this letter is used to provide some basis for discussion so that Devon may answer for what happened and find a way to be reintroduced into civil society. Thank you for your time in reading this. I'm available to answer any questions by anyone at any time.
Thank you. Mr. Kaplan.
Melanie Alstad. Melanie Alstad.
name is Melanie Austed, Melany, last name Austad. I met Devon in 2017 when we were both employed at Target. We very quickly became friends and actually soon began a relationship after that. Yes, sorry. Not much later after that, I had ended our relationship due to my own circumstances. However, Devon remained a friend to me after that. And after becoming close again in early 2019, he and I started dating in November 2019, and we've been together since. The Devon that I know cares greatly about people that are hurting, that are alone, and that are outsiders. When Devon and I first met, he immediately started putting energy into making sure that I was okay. He checked in on me every single day, and he was by my side when I was hurting, and he never left despite his own pain. The Devon that I know is a person who makes me and others laugh. He always made everyone around him laugh. He played pranks and joked around at work and got to know everyone that he worked with. But despite that, he always knew when to be serious and when to just listen. In late 2018 and early 2019, I was struggling more than I had in a very long time. I was depressed and hopeless and felt completely alone. But when Devon realized how much I was struggling, he immediately contacted me to see if I was okay. He started checking in on me every single day to make sure that I was safe and that I would make it through the day. He listened when I was hurt by other people, and he knew just how to make me smile, and was the only person that was consistently making sure that I was okay, despite us not being close for about a year. To me, Devon is kind, passionate, and loyal. Despite the horrible decisions that he made, I am confident in the goodness that Devon possesses. He understands the pain that he caused and will never forget the impact his actions had, and he will live with the guilt for the rest of his life. He is eternally remorseful and understands that he will never be able to undo what he did. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Kaplan.
Your Honor, if we could bring up, I think these folks would like to at least stand together and then test and then say something one at a time. So, Mr. Hirschfeld, come up. Is that? Oh, just him alone? Okay. This is Mr. Joseph Hirschfeld.
Thank you, Your Honor. My name is Joe Hirschfeld, Joehershfeldt. I'm Devon's grandpa. I'm also his best friend, or I consider Devon my best friend. Devon came into my life. He was adopted. We developed a very close, open relationship, very comfortable with each other. And I've always had a special place, he's always had a special place in my heart. In fact, Devon isn't just my grandson. He's my best friend. He brought a great deal of joy and happiness to me and to our entire family. We did a lot of things together. We played golf together. We skied together. We built things together. I used to laugh that when Devon came over and said, "Grandpa, can we build?" And we'd go to Home Depot, buy more stuff than my wife thought we really needed. But we built a bond. We built a great bond. He also taught me to be, I found that Devon was probably one of the most caring people I've ever met in my life. There has been talk here that he isn't sorry for what has happened. I can assure you he has. Devon doesn't show it much, but I know he's been in tears a lot. And in fact, some of the days at the trial, he spent afternoons in tears after these proceedings broke up. He also taught me to be a more kind and loving person. I grew up in a family, an immigrant family really, that very rarely showed emotions. In fact, showing emotion was looked upon somewhat by my father as being weak. Devon changed that for me. He taught me to use the word love, use it freely, and to mean it. I had some of the most happy and relaxed times of my life with Devon. All the good things that we did together probably pale in comparison to just the times we sat and talked to each other. I remember bringing him home from some of his activities in school, in youth theater, and his voice lessons. And he always used to ask me, "Grandpa, you need to tell me about what you did in the Army." Now, I may have embellished some of those answers, but we had a lot of fun with it. Devon one day looked at me and said, "Grandpa, you're my hero. I love you." That probably might have been the nicest words that have ever been spoken to me. But that's the kind of person Devon was. He also taught me to hug, again, from someone who did not show emotion. I experienced more hugging from Devon than probably anyone in my life. But what it did is it taught me the value of hugging people. He brought he brought joy and happiness to our family, to me as an individual and to our family as a whole. The Devon we knew was not the Devon you've heard about here today. He's a loving, caring, absolutely outstanding person. I was asked once, after I bragged about Devon, said, "It seems you love Devon quite a lot." My answer was, "I not only love him, I love the ground he walks on." And that will be it's unconditional love. I will never stop loving him. He made a big mistake, yes, but he's a great guy. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Kaplan.
Honor Stephanie Erickson, Devon Erickson, and Jim Erickson. This is Brianna.
Hello, my name is Brianna Erickson, Brianna Erickson, and I am Devon's sister. I will make this quick. First off, I do want to give my sincere condolences to the victims and their families. I truly know that Devon fully regrets what happened on that tragic day. The Devon I know has always had a very kind heart. He has only given me and my family the most caring love in the world, and I wish more than anything that this never happened. I know in my heart that this was not him. I love you forever, Devon, and I miss you every day. Thank you.
Hi, Honor. My name is Jim Erickson, Jimerickson. Like most people, I want to start with apologies and sympathies to the people who are some very, very heavily impacted, especially the Castillo family. Losing their son, I don't know how anybody can ever understand what that could be like. We try to, but it's impossible to know what it's like to lose your son, especially if it's your only son. I'm sure their hearts are ripped apart, and we heard that they still are. We hope someday that they will be able to heal this. We all know that this was just a senseless tragedy. And we do hope, though, that somewhere in the future that they will be healed from this. We also know that there's a large number of injured students that were impacted by the actions of that day. I want to recognize each one by name because it's important to us that we recognize the people who are impacted by this. So I'll start with Lucas Albertoni, Stephen Bartoni, Jackson Gregory, Mitchell Krause, Joshua Jones, Gerardo Montoya Ojeda, Thomas Saya, and Alexander Watford. Those are people that I don't know how they will ever forget what happened to them, and they'll have physical and emotional scars for the rest of their lives. And we're so sorry for that. We're also sorry about every single student that was in room 107 that day. every single one of them will probably never forget what they lived through, the emotional trauma they went through, physical trauma for some of them. Our hearts go out to all those people that had to live through that experience. And even the adjacent classroom, the people who heard gunshots, had bullets coming through their wall, injured by them. We can't understand what it'd be like to go through something like that and how you can get past that. You know, how we know some of them have PTSD, go through counseling. Our hearts go out to those people. In fact, our hearts also go out to every single student at STEM. We heard there's 1,700 students in school that day. Not a single one of them is going to forget that they were part of a school shooting. And that's something that you can never correct with them. They will always have that, all the way down those kindergartners. And I know a lot of those kids are going through counseling. And that's tragic that little kids have to go through counseling, experiencing something like that based on some senseless tragedy that should have never happened. We also know all the parents and the families of those students are impacted. We heard from people who happened to be at the school that day, that they were there with the younger kids even, and the trauma that they have went through and how that's affected them and their families and even their daily lives. And our hearts go out to all those people, because we can understand how hard that is to go day by day, having those things in the back of your mind, trying to help your kids get through this where they're traumatized of just simple daily life activities that are now difficult for them. We also, our hearts go out to the law enforcement and the first responders. I'm sure those people were, doing their job by getting there as quickly as possible, but how could this have not affected them too? I think when people think of horrible things that happen, school shootings is pretty much usually at the top of the list of something horrible happening because it's affecting kids. We also just know the whole community. I know how many times we heard about STEM Strong, the STEM community. That means it's all the people around that whole area. Highlands Ranch, Douglas County, all those people were impacted by what happened that day. We also know that there's a lot of heroes that came forward that day. Of course, the obvious one was the brave young man, Kendrick Castillo, who was only thinking of trying to help and save others and not thinking of himself. That's as heroic as it can get. We also know Joshua Jones and Brenda Biley also accosted Devon and wrestled him down, disarmed him. I don't know how you can say somebody's not brave if they're doing some type of action like that. And then regarding Alec McKinney, Jackson Gregory, and Lauren Harper, having to accost him, and how horrible it is for a teacher to have to wrestle down a student with a gun. It's unfathomable that somebody would have to do that. We also heard about Mike Pritchard, that he came in not even knowing what was going on, and he's brave to go in that room knowing there were guns and that he saw guns. He's taking guns away. That's a brave man. He never flinched. He was immediately over there. And again, also all the on-scene police officers, they were brave going in there, not knowing what they were walking into. They knew that there's possible multiple shooters. They don't know if they're still active. There's nothing more brave than people going into there to save lives and not thinking of their own lives as they're trying to do that. We also want to know that everybody knows that every single person I just mentioned, all the community, parents, families, victims, students in the room, we pray for these people every day. So we do. We know how bad of a tragedy this is, and not a single day has went by that we have not prayed for each person that I just mentioned. We also pray that these people will be able to heal and get past this at some point in their lives. We hope that they can find peace. And hopefully they can also find forgiveness. And I know it's a hard ask to ask for the forgiveness. Originally, I have a 5-page speech here. I'm not going to subject everybody to 5 pages of my speech. Devon didn't want me to say too much about him in his defense. So I'm not going to say all the things I wanted to say about him, but I'm going to highlight a few of those. Because before May 7th, I was a very, very proud father of him. he's a very talented kid. We didn't know about his talent. We were told about his talents of being a good singer. Most parents are always excited about saying that their kid's a great singer. Luckily, we had somebody tell us he was a great singer. He performed in a whole bunch of musicals. I won't go through each one, how many different theater companies he's in. But he was in 91 musical performances. During his junior year, he was part of a highly talented jazz band where he was a lead singer. They performed at the Dazzle Jazz nightclub many nights. They were highlighted at the Five Points Jazz Fest and sang at the Denver City Park. He was part of two voice schools, one of which was a high performing school also. He was involved in 33 performances while he was at that school, where he was singing on his own on stage in front of people. But he was so well liked at that school that he was also a mentor to the younger singers. And they also, the teacher, the school owner and the lead teacher saw Devon's abilities to work with kids and had his talents. And he was an intern teacher during his senior year at STEM, training to be a vocal teacher once he graduated. Just to prove that Devon didn't hate STEM, and nobody has ever said that, but I just want to make sure people know that he loved STEM. He liked that school. He was there from 6th grade on. He also was involved in the very first STEM talent show. And in that